Jordaan is president of SAFA once again, starting his third term. Well, a former SAFA president, Kirsten Nematandani, joins us now via Zoom to give us his take on this election process and the job of being SAFA president. Mr. Nematandani, good to talk to you. Thanks so much indeed for joining us.
Good evening to you and to all the viewers.
So just how hard is this job of SAFA president?
Look, I think it depends. The truth of it is, if you go in there with passion and love what you're doing, it's like playing. And of course, respecting issues of governance, your own constitution, and ensuring that you've established committees that will actually yield results. I always believe that where there's a will, there's a way. And indeed, if you go out there and say, I want to serve, and serve with the best of your knowledge and ability, nothing can stop you to achieve what you want to achieve.
Is the state of football a reflection of the leadership of football in the country at any given moment in time?
Look, in any organization, leadership plays a critical role. When you lead, you give direction. When you lead, you show the way. Indeed, in any situation, be it in a family, just in a school, now you're talking national organization, even government. If you don't get good leaders out there, obviously it impacts on the product, meaning the outcome of how things are done. Fortunately enough, an organization like SAFA has other peer groups like your CAF and FIFA that also have constitutions that guide them as to what to do and give them the support. I think what's critical at this level is to ensure that you've got the right structure in, mandated by people who are eager to want to make a difference. If you commit yourself to have a workable structure with committees that are ready to dirty their hands, why wouldn't you succeed?
All right, I don't want you to comment about Jordaan in particular, but I am curious because in politics we find that there's a challenge sometimes, but is the way that people are voted to become president of SAFA reflective of the will of the people, as it were? Or can you get through by courting a minority of people of influence, in which case sometimes we may not end up with the best candidates in the job?
Well, look, I think we need to understand that in every structure, there are role players. And role players are the ones that plays a part in that particular setup. Yes, we do know that football is a national asset, but the way it's structured, which is like that worldwide, including FIFA, only members of FIFA will vote at FIFA Congress. That includes your CAF, including your SAFA. Yes, those could be other open ideas that the public might try and bring in to say, perhaps we need to change the status quo. We have seen it now currently in government where people went to the Constitutional Court to want to ensure that independent candidates should also be allowed to stand. These are changes. Remember, in life, changes do come in.
Yeah.
And this dilemma is like when people opt for a centralized government, at some stage they'll say, no, let's decentralize. It's a dilemma where you don't really have a solution. At some stage, yes, it's fine. At some stage, no.
Do you think it's a fair and level playing field when it comes to finding the officials and electing them?
In as far as I'm concerned, and looking at all various party codes, this has been the norm worldwide. People who are interested in that particular field are the ones that then play a role.
Right.
In fact, we are very fortunate when it comes to a sport like football, which is a national asset, where everyone can participate from grassroots level, from home, from a village to a community. And these people, if very keen to want to participate, you start there, and ultimately we'll see you at SAFA.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the state of football at this time. And I just wonder how you feel South African football is doing. We're not doing great in international competitions, so people might say it's because of the leadership. Tell us your take about why we haven't reached those heady heights of the 90s.
There are a number of factors. I think, obviously, issues of the various structures that need to be rekindled. Your school sport in particular, teachers themselves. How many of your teachers out there really understand how to get involved in sport? Your teacher's qualification today, it's you have a degree, but you can't even go into the sport field and assist a kid in any particular sporting code. Those are critical issues because the foundation, having lost that space, would mean a great struggle to begin to bring that up. That's why you see all the kids who are doing well football-wise have to end up in academies, whereas they could have started at schools. Yeah. Where are the schools' competitions, which give you the bulk of every little child out there? You just have to have the fortunate ones who are in the limelight at a well-developed area where they have a chance to be scouted to belong to an academy. What about a kid at a rural area, in a primary schools? Schools are everywhere. That therefore gives you a platform to can reach the length and breadth of this country.
All right, so let's talk about the present day then. Friday, we see a chaotic press conference. One of the commissioners going for blood when it comes to the media. We hear about death threats, and we see protests of people wanting change. What's your take about this election process and the re-election of Danny Jordaan?
Look, I might not be the best person to respond to some of the questions you asked, except that I saw a glimpse of that on the media. Surely I wouldn't really support anyone who uses their emotions and power to fight against the next one. Neither should I support anyone. In fact, we should condemn anyone who threatens anybody in as far as wanting to stand for election is concerned, because this is just sport, for God's sake.
Yeah. Do you think that Mr. Jordaan did enough in 8 years to convince people that he needs another term? I suppose what I'm asking is, what has he done in 8 years that could point to the next 4?
Well, to respond to that question, honestly, one might need to go through all the various annual reports. Unfortunately, as you know, I had 5 years in limbo, so I wasn't very close to the action. But surely those that are inside, yourselves as members of the media, probably were very close to the action. And I think the verdict could better be told by yourselves. Yes, those that are inside will argue, yes, we have done our part. Like I said, if we have to be objective, it means we need to go out there and collect all the information. If you were to judge him in terms of how the national team performed, that could be another aspect. But then you need to set those criteria very clear.
What's your wish for South African football going forward? What would you like to see revolutionized? Because it seems as if we need a revolution more than slight changes. Look,
I would say if one could have a chance to advise the SAFA board now, would be to try and turn SAFA into a learning organization, where they could go back to the basics. a learning organization becomes a growing organization. You stop learning, you stop growing. And I think somewhere, somehow, there is a missing link. It does happen when you are running business and you feel like I am there. And the reawakening comes in when you look back and say, by the by, we were supposed to have been here. We've got a very powerful document that they are taking forward, a document that I believe forms the basis of what SAFA should be. The Vision 2022, I think they've changed it to Vision, somehow, because it's a living document, they keep on updating it. Should they follow that to the latter, to a greater extent, and make SAFA a learning organization, not only at national level, reach out at regions, at local football associations, at schools, at villages. Gone are the days where you would just assume things would happen by themselves. Football has become very scientific. It's so competitive. I was telling a friend that look at a country like Croatia. Its population is probably almost 10 million, yet they compete amongst the best. Why? Why don't we go and do a comparative studies? And even start ensuring that if we are a learning organization, we'll ensure that we develop a lot of developers. Developers here, I mean coaches. If you take the ratio of coach versus kids out there, the number is not satisfactory. We need more coaches. Or, in fact, if there was a way they could say every former player should go back to class, meaning coaching, we could be going somewhere. Yeah. There are many universities here. Why don't we accredit some of the courses there that you go and do a sports science and also have a course on coaching, football coaching?
Mr. Nematandani, we're going to have to leave it there, but it sounds like you're full of ideas. I hope that they reach out to you and that you can contribute once again to the game. Thanks so much.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you. All right, that's former SAFA President Kirsten Nematandani joining us, talking about the state of football on the back of the re-election of Danny Jordaan.